Hi. Can you guys hear me? How's everybody doing? Go ahead and talk so I can hear you.
Good.
Doing good.
Yeah? Okay. Great.
Good.
All right. We're still a few minutes early. I just wanted to log in and make sure it's working okay. So thank you for a few minutes and then we'll get started. Has everybody looked at the syllabus
Yep.
and the YouTube videos and everything? Okay, good. All right. So yeah, I'll be back in a minute.
Rename right now.
Okay. We all here? No, we're not all here. Who's here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 16. We're still missing a few people. There's one person coming on. Some of you I don't have video for, not that I necessarily need it. Like Alex, are you there? Alex? Or Tommy, or Graham, or Riley? Okay. So Tiff, you're muted, just so you know. Is that intentional? Okay. Can you guys see each other? You can see everybody? All right.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out my camera.
Natalie, did you get my email about the, did you watch that video?
I haven't had a chance to watch the video yet, but I got your email.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how big that flood was.
Yeah.
Christina, Scott, Chloe. Chloe, how's your thesis coming?
It's really close. I'm finishing up some figures and basically I just need a conclusion and that's it.
Good. Alex, Tommy, Graham, and Riley.
Hi, Sydney. How's your day going?
Good.
Did you know that I love you?
We're missing, looks like we're missing 5 people still, but hopefully they will log in a minute. So, okay, so welcome. I don't know if you guys, how much all of you have had a chance to do yet or see yet, but you took a class last block, all of you online, is that right? Or were any of you not taking a class? Jake, you didn't?
Online class? Oh, last block. Yeah. Yeah. I thought you meant last semester.
So you guys have all done this. I haven't done this. So you're ahead of me and you probably are going to see me make a lot of the same mistakes that some of your profs maybe made at the beginning of last block, but we'll get it sorted out. So this is hydrogeology. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I too close to the microphone? No? It's hydrogeology. This is ENV 301 and Geology 320. And you all saw that those of you who are geology majors are still enrolled in Geology 320, but I moved you over to the ENV Moodle page so that I don't have to post stuff twice. That's cool? Everybody's good about that? Okay. What I've done is, and I don't know what class you took last block or how this is going to compare to that, but what I've done is I've uploaded a lot of videos, and the videos I try to make them in about 15-minute blocks, because my understanding is that after about 15 minutes, you kind of want things in like 15-minute blocks so you don't lose too much interest. So I've tried to keep it to about an hour of lecture a day, an hour of video per day, assuming that by the time you guys hit pause and take notes and everything, it'll be more like 2 hours by the time you're done. And then you've got some homeworks and some readings. And so that should keep you pretty busy. But I really would appreciate you guys giving me regular feedback. If you feel like you're being overwhelmed, you feel like you're being underwhelmed, just send me an email and let me know, and we can adjust as things go along. This is a class that, hydrogeology is a class that if you want to go on in the environmental field after you graduate, a hydrogeology class is a really important tool. I would say the 2 most important tools coursework-wise that you could have would be this class and GIS. Those 2 classes are the kinds of things that employers would really be looking for if you wanted to go into environmental consulting. So environmental consulting means, if you don't know, in the 60s and 70s, with the advent of environmental regulations like the Clean Water Act and the Safe Drinking Water Act and so forth, there are all of these private organizations that have sprung up to help municipalities, to help industries, to help individuals make sure that they have clean water, make sure that they're releasing clean water, and that they can clean up any spills or sources of contamination they have. And so lots and lots and lots of geology majors, environmental studies majors, biology majors, chemistry majors over the last 40 or 50 years have graduated from college and gone on and gotten introductory jobs doing environmental consulting, where basically what you do with a bachelor's degree is you're put on the lowest level of the workload, and you're sent out to collect water samples, and you don't do a lot of interpretation at this point. You just do sort of a lot of the collection and the analysis. And if you like that sort of thing, you climb the ladder. A lot of times, I think these days what most people would say is if you're interested in a job, like a career, I should say, in any kind of environmental consulting, you would probably want to go back and get a master's degree. And master's degrees are kind of the working degrees now in environmental consulting. But environmental consulting doesn't mean that you have to do a engineering-based hydrology curriculum with a thesis. It just means that you need to do some sort of advanced training in environmental work. I think I've told some of you this before, but I have a friend who I did my master's degree with in geology. And when he graduated with his master's, he got a consulting job working for a company in Virginia where he was from. And he worked his way up, and with a master's doing sedimentology, which basically has very, very little to do with consulting, with environmental consulting. He worked his way up and he was managing this branch. And so I saw him at a meeting and I asked him, like, what should we be training our students to do? What should we be, and what kind of research should we be involving them in as undergraduates so that they can best get a job? And what should they be doing their master's degrees in? And what he said was basically, it doesn't really matter. I mean, this was 10 years ago, but I think it's probably true that they want to see a master's degree because by doing a master's degree in just about anything, you learn how to write scientifically, you learn how to formulate hypotheses, you learn how to collect data. It demonstrates by finishing your master's that you can follow through on a project, that you can circumvent problems and that sort of thing. And what he said was, you get a master's in whatever, and then we teach you the stuff that we need you to know, right? But the master's is just sort of proving to us that you've got that level of stick-to-itiveness and intellect and willpower that, you know, we'll train you to do the rest. So anyway, I just want to give you some sense of why I teach this class, right? It's a class that I think is very important from a sort of an intellectual academic perspective, but it's also got real world applicability, right? If you have a hydrogeology class, it helps you understand what people do in environmental consulting, and it'll allow you to get a job, an introductory job in environmental consulting, but probably not the job that you would keep for the rest of your career. Okay, so that's that. So the class is, this class is obviously a little bit different now than it would be if we were doing it in the classroom. There are some field trips that we're not going to do. There are some sort of more hands-on things that we're not going to get a chance to do. But I think the material is all pretty much accessible through the lectures that I'm posting online. So what I'm going to try to do is the following. I'm going to have, right now I've got lecture videos for the first 6 days or so, first 6 classes online. And what I'll do is at least 24 hours ahead of time, I'm going to email you and say, okay, for tomorrow or for Wednesday, these are the videos that you need to watch. And this is the homework you need to do. One of the nice things about this class though, is not just, I mean, I like the lecture. I like the give and take of being in a classroom with you guys. But one of the fun things about this class, I think, is that there are problems that we do in class, usually as groups or as small groups. Like I'll divide the class up into groups of 3 or 4, and you guys have to sort of solve these problems together. And I don't want to lose that because I think it's a lot of fun. So, and I think in general, you know, it's not being turned in or anything. It's just that they're just give you guys a chance to work together and kind of think through these things. So we're going to try this breakout rooms button. Have you guys in your classes done any of this breakout room stuff? Does anybody shake your head yes or no? Justina's done it, and it looks like only one of you. Okay. So the way this works, I think, is I can go click this little breakout room button and assign you to groups, right? And I'm just going to assign people randomly, like 3 or 4 groups. And I think what will happen is you will see just the 3 or 4 other people in your group, and the rest of the class will disappear. And then you guys can talk to each other without hearing us talking over you. And you can kind of work through the problem that I give you as a group. And then after like 15 or 20 minutes of that, if you finish early, you can just chat. And anyway, after 15 or 20 minutes of working on this problem, I'll bring the groups back together and we can kind of talk about the problem. And I want to do that multiple times, right? So partly the class is going to be independently going through the videos, and partly it's going to be getting together like we're doing now from 2 to 3 every day, and either doing these group exercises or giving you guys a chance to ask me questions about the homeworks or about the lecture material or something like that. What I don't want to use this time period for is presenting new information, because it's too hard to make sure that everybody is here now, right? So when we have this group time from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I'm not going to be presenting you new information. I'm going to be answering questions about last night's homework. I'm going to be answering questions about the lecture videos that I posted for today, or we'll be doing group problems. Got it? Does that sound okay? I believe I'm recording this video right now, and assuming I am, I'll every day, this 2 to 3 o'clock session, I will post to Moodle, or excuse me, to YouTube. So if you, for whatever reason, missed the session, you can go onto the YouTube channel and see what we talked about, right? So if we're covering homeworks or whatever, you haven't missed it. Got it? So far, so good? Give me the nod, everybody, the yes or the no, so I can see what's going on. All right. All right, so because there is a, ooh, somebody gave me the thumbs up, I like that. So, so because there is, basically this class is sort of bimodal, right? We have the geology majors who've taken lots of geology classes, and the environmental studies majors who probably haven't taken so many geology classes. As you all saw, or as you're about to see, the first day, I just kind of wanted to talk about intro geology. So you geology majors have seen this a million times, and it probably didn't do you much good, but I want to bring everybody up basically to the same basic level of understanding, that we know something about the way plate tectonics works. We know something about the way rocks work, particularly sedimentary rocks. And the reason that's important is that if you are a geologist and you get a job in Hanford, Washington, for example, right, which is, Washington State, if you're a hydrogeologist or any kind of geologist, the first thing you'd want to know is, what is the geology up there? And it turns out it's not random, right? Geology isn't just random. It's not like just, random rocks fell from the sky and landed in different parts of the earth. The North Pacific Northwest is a very volcanic province because of plate tectonics. The Midwestern part of the United States doesn't have any volcanic activity, right? It has lots of flat-lying sedimentary rocks, again, because of plate tectonics. So that's why I gave you that information, so that you can kind of say, okay, I'm going to Florida. I'd expect there not to be any volcanoes. I'd expect there not to be any mountains. I'd expect there to be lots of flat-lying limestones. And that has a certain effect on the way water flows, right? Anyway, so we'll come back and talk a lot about that. But I just wanted to give you a sense for why you're in a 300 level hydrogeology class and you have to learn about plate tectonics. That there really is a reason there. And if you haven't seen it before, it's worth learning. Okay, let's see, what else? The class I'm offering as only as pass-fail. And if for some reason any of you individually want to change that, I'm more than willing to listen to your argument and we can work it out individually. In general, though, I think that that in my view, this was the best way to go. I was a little bit worried about, giving final exams when everything is posted to YouTube and you have, even giving you a kind of an open book exam seemed a little bit weird to me. So I think if you did want to take this for a grade and you really feel like, you have a 2.99 GPA or a 3.49 GPA and you want to get it up to that next level and you want to do well in this class to bump your GPA up, talk to me about that. But things like the final exam, I probably would give to you one-on-one. We'll just do it over Zoom. So you just do it orally rather than a written exam. So anyway, think about that. If it's really important to you, I'm happy to have that discussion. But otherwise, I just want to make this pass-fail for everybody. I just want to make sure that everybody knows, though, that the pass-fail component, and this is on the syllabus, it's in bright red letters on the syllabus. So you have to, as with all pass-fail or satisfactory, unsatisfactory, whatever they call it at Cornell, credit, no credit, you have to get a C or better in order to get the credit. So what I would do is calculate your grade and submit the grade to the registrar. And I know that if you get a C or better, you're getting credit, right? But one thing that I wanted to make sure of was that everybody does all of the work. So if you do really well on the first 75% of the course, and you might think, well, I just won't take the final exam because even if I get a 0, I still get a C in the class and I get credit. The requirement is that in order to be eligible to earn a C, right, you have to take seriously and turn in all of the assignments. So you can't think that you can just blow off part of this class, not do it, and still pass. You need to be committed to the entire class. I don't think that's too much to ask. That's something you would do if you're doing it for a grade anyway. What else? Anything else? There's no textbook, but there are these two books, The Control of Nature. Hopefully you guys have The Control of Nature by John McPhee and Cadillac Desert by Mark Reisner. The Cadillac Desert book, we're not going to worry about for the first week and a half, so just put that aside. The Control of Nature is a book that you're going to read, we're going to discuss, you're going to turn in a first draft, and then you're going to turn in a final paper of. All right? I have posted to Moodle already the specific assignment for the Control of Nature paper. So you probably want to read that now before you start reading the book, so you keep in mind exactly, you know, what you're looking for. I'll say this now, I'll say this again, but I want to be really, really clear about it, okay? There is the book, The Control of Nature, is divided up into 3 chapters. Each chapter is about a different part of the world, a different sort of environmental situation. And there's a tendency for people in writing this paper to do the following. And I want to be clear, I do not want you to do what I'm about to tell you. What a lot of people do is they summarize the first chapter, then they summarize the second chapter, then they summarize the third chapter. That's not what I want. There are themes that connect each of the chapters, and I want you to pull those out and talk about the themes. Theme 1, how is it illustrated in chapter 1, 2, and 3? Theme 2, how is it illustrated in chapter 1, 2, and 3, and so forth. See the difference? Yes? Okay, so be very clear about that. So that you should start on right away. You should start reading that today. The other thing that you should start reading today is this research paper. Have you guys seen this? Have you found your research paper yet? Has anybody done this? If you go onto Moodle, you go down to research papers, at the very bottom, there's a all caps file. You open it up and it'll have your name next to a certain paper. That research paper, they're all from the Journal of Hydrogeology. That is your paper. Everybody has a different paper. And it's a peer-reviewed research paper published by professional hydrogeologists. And you're going to read it for the first time today, and you're not going to understand more than 10 or 20% of it, depending on your background. But as we move through the class, and as you do more peripheral reading and investigations, you'll begin to put the pieces together. And by the very end of the class, what you're going to do is you're going to upload to YouTube for the rest of the class to see, including me, for me to evaluate, a 5 to 7 minute presentation where you sort of explain and lay out the questions that were being asked, the research methodologies, the results, and so forth. Okay? Everybody will do that independently. I find personally, in talking to students over the years, this is the most challenging part of the class and often the most enjoyable part of the class from students' perspectives. In the beginning, you're going to want to vomit because it's totally gibberish at first and you're not going to understand it, but you got to just keep plugging away and plugging away. And as we learn more material through the course of the class, it's going to start to become more clear. But even then, what you have to do is you have to bombard me with questions. You're going to be looking on the internet for answers, and you're going to be emailing me. Hey, Ron, I didn't understand this section, paragraph 5 in the results section. What are they talking about here? Can we talk about it? And I'll help you process it. I don't expect you to do this all on your own, but this takes a lot of work. The cool thing is, by the time you're done, you're really going to understand what it means to be a hydrogeologist, really what it means. And some of these are really hands-on practical papers, like how do we decontaminate water that's been contaminated underneath Akron, Ohio? Or how do we change agricultural practices so that we don't suck the aquifer dry in the Middle East? Things like that. I mean, these are like the kinds of papers that the person on the street, you could stop them and explain why this research was done, and they'd get it and they'd get excited about it. Okay? All right. Then the third paper, the third thing you're going to do is read this Cadillac Desert, which again we don't have to worry about until the second half of the class, so I'm not going to talk about it now. Good? Okay. Last thing to say, and then I'll turn it over to questions, is that there will be homeworks, but none of the homeworks, this is all in the syllabus again. There will be homeworks, but none of the homeworks will be collected. So I'd like you to make a good faith effort to try and solve these. Most of them you'll have no problem solving. But know that whenever you're done, whether you solve it or not, the answer key will be posted to Moodle, and you can just download it and check your work. Okay? The final exam will be based on those problems. So it'll be open book, and it's just to make sure that you understand how to do it. And it'll be based on the readings and the discussions and the movies and the other things that we do. And that's it. Oh yeah, one last thing. Aside from the 2 books that you're going to read in the research paper, I'll be giving you little articles, like from little things from the U.S. Geological Survey, or little videos online here and there to watch, but they're not, or newspaper articles or something. Nothing's too intense. And then there's a hydrogeology textbook that I've Xeroxed certain pages from, and I'll ask you to skim those as well. Anyway, but I honestly think that the amount of time that we would normally spend in class per day, 4 hours, should be enough time easily for you to get all of the work done that we're going to do, aside from the reading of the books and the writing of the papers. So I'm not trying to swamp you guys with work. I'm also not trying to make this super, super light, just trying to find a middle balance. But I expect you guys to give me feedback about that as we go forward. If you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, you'll tell me. If you feel like you're getting this done in half an hour and sitting around bored, you'll tell me. Okay? Okay. So I'm happy now to take questions. If you guys have any comments or questions about the way the class is going to be run, or about any of the material that was posted for today, I will email, as soon as we hang up, I'll email you guys with the videos that I want you to watch and the lectures for tomorrow. But the ones that we were going to do today were all about plate tectonics and geology and that kind of stuff. Oh, but one other thing. Do you guys know how to use Excel? How many of you guys know how to use Excel? More or less, kind of? Okay. I'm going to post a little, there's a little Excel tutorial video that's on Moodle. Watch that today as well. I think I said this in my, I don't know, I said this maybe in the Excel tutorial that I posted to YouTube. I say Moodle, I mean YouTube, sorry. This ex-student of mine is now a manager for a pretty high up in an environmental consulting company in Kansas City. And he gave a talk to this class about 3 or 4 years ago. And I said to him, what are the tools that our students should have to get a job in environmental consulting? And one of the things he said right out of the gate was Excel. He said, it's amazing how many people just don't have a fundamental ability to use Excel. So I don't want you guys to leave this class without being able to at least know something about how to use it. So we'll be using it for a few basic calculations here and there. Okay, so watch that Excel video that's also on there. All right, I'll take questions or comments.
I have a question.
Yeah, Justina.
On the syllabus for Monday, it says to read McPhee, but the thing is, it doesn't say what section.
Right. So that's a good question. So we're not gonna discuss there are 3 chapters to the book. We're not going to discuss any part of the book until the book has been completely read and you guys have written your papers on it. So you just read at your pleasure and start working on the paper at your pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. I think you'll like it. It's a fun book. What else?
Could I ask a question about the lecture material today?
Yeah.
So you were talking about the Wilson cycle.
Yeah.
I was wondering, is that originally 2 continental crusts that start to split apart, and then it kind of starts to build the oceanic crust?
Yeah, think of it as a single continent, a single piece of continental crust that splits apart into 2 smaller pieces.
And then it kind of goes into the ocean, and then another continent just sort of sucks up both of those oceanic pieces.
Yeah, so if one chunk of continent is moving apart, right, the only way those continental pieces can move away from each other is if oceanic crust somewhere else in the world is getting run over, is getting subducted. And when oceanic crust gets subducted, sometimes that subducted oceanic crust is connected to another continent, and that draws two continents together. So continents are getting pulled apart to create new oceans, and continents are getting pulled together by subduction to create new continents. I don't know. Does that make any sense? One thing I don't know how to do is, and maybe you guys can help me about, if I wanted to diagram stuff right now, what would I do? If I wanted to like show you,
You can share your screen.
but then how do I draw on my screen?
You can share your screen, and one of the things it says you can share is just a whiteboard. And I believe then you can perhaps with your mouse draw and write on there.
Yeah. Well, what I might, anyway, that's going to be hard for me to do, but I'll figure out something. I might just get a big literal whiteboard from my office and stand up here and diagram on stuff in front of the camera. That might be more straightforward.
Would you be able to get a big clear sheet of something? Because I know people have videos where they like write on the clear plexiglass with their like expo markers. That might work.
Yeah. I've got a big, well, it's not clear, but I've got a big dry erase board in my office that I could stand up. So it would basically be in the screen right here, and then I could just write on it. That might help. We'll see. We'll experiment. You guys can tell me what works and what doesn't. I'll make a note of that. You want to see my dog? Chilton. I don't know where he went. He's gone. I don't know where he is. I'll show you my dog tomorrow. I've got a cute dog. Do you guys have dogs? We need to have a pet day. Everybody needs to bring their pet. Let's do that tomorrow. All right. 2:00, everybody bring their pet to the camera. Okay. I'm going to make a note of that so I don't forget. Pets at 2. I'd show you my cat, but she's horrible. You don't want to see my cat. All right. What else? So you guys are okay for the first day? You got your marching orders? So you're going to watch these videos. Starting the videos for tomorrow, we start to actually do hydrogeology stuff. So we start with some, oh, here he comes. Chilty. Chilty. Come here. He's very deaf and old. Here, see. Oh, hello. Chilton, come here. Chilty, sit. Hey, sit. Uh-oh. Chilton, sit. Oh, well. That's all we get today. That's, hi. And here's my cat. You see her? There she is. Anyway. It's a little weird because you guys are all on mute. So I'm just sitting here talking to a bunch of muted faces. That's just, yeah, anyway. All right. So you're going to bring your pets tomorrow. I'm going to post the videos they need to watch for tomorrow. We're going to use this 2:00 to 3:00 session for Q&A mostly, right? So questions you have about the lecture, about the homeworks, about whatever, anything we'll do. I guess that's about it for now. I don't want to go on and on and on, but I kind of feel like when you get, I don't know about you, when I get nervous, I just talk, I just keep talking. And now I'm very nervous standing here in front of a bunch of all these people who are staring at me, not saying a word. So I'm just going to keep talking. Anyway, so that's that. Send me emails. This is the last thing I'll say. I need you guys to be in touch with me individually. So if anything comes up, if you have, oh, is that your pet, Scott? Is that real?
Yeah, this is my his name is Winky. He's my little bearded dragon.
How cool is that? Hi, Winky.
He just hangs around.
Is he a horned lizard? What is he?
Bearded dragon.
Bearded dragon. Cool.
Yeah, he'll get to be about 3 times this size.
Oh my goodness.
He's only like 4 months old.
Wow. That's pretty cool. All right. So anyway, send me emails. Don't just disappear if you have something you're not sure about, you can ask each other, of course, but just send emails. I get up really early, usually around, I don't know, anywhere between 5 and 6:30. And I go to bed pretty early too, generally by 9. But I check my email all the time. And so if you email me at after 9, I probably am not going to get back to you until the next morning. But I'll check my email right before I go to bed, and I check it over the course of the day. And so I don't want you just sitting around spinning your wheels because you can't answer something, right? Just reach out to me. Other than that, that's all I got. So let's have a fun class, and hopefully we get through this together. And I hope you all stay healthy. And I'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Oh, the other thing was, sorry, my daughter, who's a college student, told me that she likes it when her professor has these these Zoom classes and then leaves, and you guys all get to talk to each other if you want to. So if you want to stick around and chat with each other, you can. I'll just leave this on. It's going to go till 3 o'clock. I'll just leave it on, and you can talk if you want, or if you don't, you can hang up. All right? But I'm leaving. So namaste. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
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 Yeah, did I miss anything? Oh, okay.